Namaskar and a welcome to everyone again to another session on Educational Connect with DM. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished viewers from around the globe, welcome to the virtual gathering that promises to be a beacon of empowerment and enlightenment. Again, for another session on Educational Connect with DM. I, your host for the day, eagerly anticipates this event where education meets transformation. As we are about to embark on an incredible journey exploring the depths of unleashing the power within, the mindset shift youth should make for the success in their life, business, and careers. So, this theme calls on to harness our inner drive to navigate challenges and to thrive in all the spheres of our life. We will uncover how a shift in the perspective holds the key to unlocking our untapped potential. So, before much ado, I would like to give a warm and an enthusiastic welcome to our remarkable Dr. Alisa Whyte.
Good
Ma'am, we welcome.
morning. Thank you.
Ma'am, we are truly honored to have you grace this platform. With your presence and your wisdom, we are really looking forward to the session today. So, as and when we have been actually moving forward, we are actually looking ahead for the mindset transformation and empowerment, the journey that you're going to take us through for today's session.
I am so absolutely honored. Good evening to you all in India. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from Arizona, USA. I'm so blessed and honored to be here. I am so ready for us to dive into this conversation about unleashing the power within the mindset shift that youths must make. It's crucial that youths, and so we might be following as adults what they may need to do as well. So if you are a young person and you're still debating what your career is, or you're certain you still need to make these shifts that we're going to talk about. So if you have a child, you have a young youth, or you an adult yourself, tune in, get someone else, share the link, and let's get going. Devea, over to you because I know you have a masterful production for us this morning.
We are really honored, ma'am, with the level of achievement that you have taken and across the globe that you have connected yourself. We are really honored to have you in place. So, as I introduce ma'am, there is an endless list that I have actually to showcase about ma'am. But to begin with, if I may have your permission, ma'am, Dr. Alisa Whyte is an epitome of mindset transformation. She's a founder, president, and CEO of Fulfill Empowerment Network. Yeah. So she is the CEO of Fulfillment Empowerment Network USA, president of the Save the Girl Child Advocacy in Africa. Her influence resonates globally. We not to forget to mention in 2023, Dr. Elisa's contributions were further acknowledged as she received the top 50 Nation Builders Award in Dubai, UAE. Also, the most prestigious, the Lifetime United States Lifetime Presidential Services Award has been honored to ma'am, which is one of the most remarkable and prestigious awards in the United States, and it has been given to people who have individually contributed to the communities, heartless and emotionlessly, to contribute greatly for the people's performance. So, ma'am, we are really honored. As we further introduce, ma'am has been a passionate and empowered multi ethnic leaders. Recently, she has also received the Global Women Choice Award for exceptional business and leadership. She's earned the title of Business Women of the Year 2021 in USA and is recognized as one of the most influential African American businesswomen on LinkedIn. I think it's very hard to achieve that. While growing her business in USA, she is globally a humanitarian and a philanthropist, offering guidance to NGOs in several countries and conducting leadership and entrepreneurship in trainings in Africa. So I think there's a lot to add on as and when we have been actually adding up. We are just short of words, ma'am, as we are introducing to you. Ma'am has an endless list of contributions. She's a certified mindset trainer coach, best-selling author, an ambassador of peace. She has devoted to be leading the individuals towards the true potential. And when we are actually talking about so much, we are just short of words. I was actually having a difficult time to shortlist and break down what exactly I have to speak for the session because it was too long to shorten. So we are really honored, ma'am. We have actually really worked hard for the society, and that is why indeed we are just short to mention just a few of them. There are more to come.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
being a we here once again, we welcome Dr. Alisa Whyte to Enlighten platform, and we are excited to embark on this transformative journey with you, ma'am. I would like to have a small presentation for you, just a small greeting for you as you have been actually joining up the session today. So, may I?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So, as we begin with the session today, we are having a lot of questions from the students these days that how do they pursue their careers or make the choices in their life. So, as Ma'am has joined us today, she is a well-known motivational speaker and a mindset disruptor. We really look forward to Ma'am's contribution to these ideas as we take up this session where we are been focusing on the youth, the teenagers, and the kind of challenges they are facing today. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Tavea. Thank you so much for such an remarkable introduction. Indeed, when you're busy creating impact and living your purpose, you end up doing a lot of things. And this is exactly the spirit I come to you all as you view us from around the world. That, as Vea said, she struggled to put together so much of what I've been able to do and be a part of again, because I am just a small part of so many big things. But when you were living your purpose and you're clear about it, there's no doubt that you will leave an indelible mark in the world. And so it's the goal of this conversation that I'm blessed to have with the Vea, with you all, as a matter of fact, because as I said, we want you all involved to consider the fact that you have so much potential and power within yourself. But what does that truly translate to in your life? And the question is always, it's great to be so well motivated to do and live and walk in my purpose, to develop a great career, but a lot of youth struggle. Just a few days ago, as you all know, I go by the number one mindset disruptor. And the reason I taken on the grace of carrying the name, because I've been able to literally disrupt the patterns and thought patterns in my own life. And then I use it in my everyday work. I work as a global career and business strategist. And in my everyday life, I am working with young adults and sometimes older to determine what is their purpose and use it in a purpose driven way in their career. But we cannot hit career without hitting life. You see, in today's changing and challenging world, fostering the right mindset is absolutely critical, more than ever for our youth. You see, because they are our future, right? You, my friend, you are our future. It's not just about creating the next big startup, and it's not about being equipped. Um, to take on generational leadership, and it's not even it's more it's having those skills, the mindset of resilience, and the need to understand how you thrive and endeavor in the face of absolute difficulty. So today, let's dive right in.
Really nicely mentioned, ma'am. So, as we have been taking up this topic further, so we have a lot to mention here today. So, when we are talking about unleashing the mindset and being the mindset disruptor, what do you have for the youth, especially? So why this session is important for them?
Yes, the way, I'm sorry, I lost audio there for a second.
Right. Should I repeat the question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the youth is really looking forward that as a mindset disruptor, how do youth face this kind of a challenges? So we are just as we're looking onto the session today, what is the takeaway that the children will be having today from our session?
So today we're definitely going to dive into what is the right mindsets and what are those steps, because we don't want to go into a space where we're lost. We can give you a lot of notions, but today I want you to walk away with specific steps on how you create that mindset And then those actionable steps that you would take on a day to day. I really want to help you create a roadmap. Just now, you showed a nice photo of a photo of me and a nice map. I intend for us to have a roadmap. So you want to take out your pen and your notepad today, because we're going to take actionable steps to create that correct mindset to be able to be successful in your life and career.
True, very true, ma'am. The
So
stage is all yours, please. Yeah.
yes, I want to share a bit of statistics because, a lot of people say, Dr. Lisa, why are you so focused on mindset? The reason I focus on mindset, I've created a principle that's called the think, speak, do, become. And so I believe that how you think, it really affects your emotions and all of the things that goes on inside of you that become your words. And then after that, it becomes your actions, and those determine the results. But I'm not the only one who's making this up. Statistics and research show Dewick, and I absolutely love Dr. Dewick, but she has created a team around the importance of the growth mindset. The studies that she did in 2007 found that students with a growth mindset believe that their abilities can be developed through effort and learning, and they tend to outperform their peers with a fixed mindset. Furthermore, there was another study here in the USA by the National Center for Education Statistics that found that 85% of students and youth who were successful attributed their achievements to the positive growth oriented mindset. And then the statistics underscore the significance of fostering a growth mindset in young individuals, as it is not that was needed for success in all areas of their life. So today, as we face all these challenges, fostering the right mindset is more critical than ever. It is more critical than ever. It is not just for creating a big startup or launching another business. It is important for us to thrive in all our endeavors. And more than ever before, it's important for the youth. You see, I like to talk about the growth mindset. But today in my presentation, we're coupling the entrepreneurial mindset and the growth mindset. And here is one of the things that I teach the young people I work with. I emphasize that as you even step into the workforce and you step into your career, having an entrepreneurial mindset will really help you advance yourself, not only in the workforce, but in life. It's one where you take accountability. So your question to me is probably, Dr. Lisa, what is that entrepreneurial mindset that you speak about? You see, a lot of people think that an entrepreneurial mindset is a way of thinking that you just have great ideas. You're innovative, but it's not. At the core of the entrepreneurial mindset is one who has a thinking that can transform every aspect of their lives. So, what is it? I define it as being able to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and embracing innovation and having the courage. Listen, having the courage to act on those ideas that you're having. So, to put it simply, it's a mindset of how I can rather than I can't. It's
Very
how I
true.
can rather than how I can. So when
Very
we're
true.
unleashing the power within, we're going to discover today how in this rapidly changing world, this shift to a growth entrepreneur mindset can help our youth thrive and excel. What are you thinking, Dave? I see you popping up with a lot of
Beautiful.
ideas.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I was able to relate, ma'am. Beautifully quoted here. I truly agree with you. Truly oriented of this as well, because even the law of attraction says talk about I can, not what I can't. So
Exactly.
looking forward to it. So, ma'am, as an even you're talking about the mindset, how do you think that the growth mindset can contribute to the success of young individuals, especially in the careers and their personal lives? Because it's very difficult for the children these days to balance both of them. So, how can these be a way to which children can contribute and manage both of them? So, could you please stress some light on this one?
So with the growth mindset, as I emphasize, and it's again so much research based, we see that students, and I want to give us a practical example. In my journey, I mentor young adults and adults between the ages of 18 and older. And so recently I had a student, a mentee, who wanted to put on sort of a production like you're doing right now. And he is in a country where all the resources are not available to him. But with his determination and being encouraged in a growth mindset, he was able to skillfully attract some of the most prolific people in the industry to contribute to his team. And he said, you know what? I will find a way. I will not let the limitation of not having StreamYard available to me stop me. I will not let the fact that I don't have a computer and it's not working right stop me. What he did was figured out how to just seamlessly do that on his phone. And so the point behind the importance of the growth mindset is that how can I attitude and the space where you're willing to learn and on the spot sometimes figuring out what that looks like in the now, because you might have a guidance to follow this, do this, but you don't have the resources. You don't sit there and say, I can't. And so when we start teaching children, I remember when I was a preschool teacher, and Dave, I know I don't know what grade you teach, but I started off teaching young children between the ages of 4 and older, and at one point, even 2-year-olds. And I remember not understanding the growth mindset all those years ago, but I remember how I was pushing for it, even in young preschoolers, where they would try to tie their laces. That's the big problem.
True,
And it
very
was
true.
so hard. And the mother was like, I'm just buying the child the Velcro because it's just a space and they can get them out the door. And I said, no, you can buy Velcros for when you're in an absolute hurry, but you want to have those shoelaces so they can practice. And the child will go, oh, I can't do it. And I said, how do you know you can't do it? Have you tried it? Let's do it together. And so with them constantly trying and taking the I can't and supporting them and said, you can, it will just take time for you to do it. It's the same approach that our youth ought to have about everything in their lives. And that's the importance. Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead.
ma'am, as we have been actually correlating with from the very primary steps of our life, the power of the mindset brings us prosperity, it brings us growth, and obviously, it actually gives us a direction how we are supposed to lead in life. So, if you believe that this is a way in which we are supposed to be choosing our careers, how do you think that the youth should adapt themselves to this? Because there's a changing landscape these days that the careers are being drastically changing. We have new orientations, we have new lifestyles, we have a different ways in which the jobs have been actually coming over. The new generation has a different lifestyle in which they have been adapting up to the work life. So,
Mhm.
as the job market is becoming dynamic, what do you think we need to be doing to adapt with ourselves, or the youth needs to be doing to adapt themselves to this changing landscape?
So we'll talk, let's talk about that a little bit more here in a second. I definitely Thank you, Nevaeh. So the power of the mindset is everything because you cannot accomplish anything without first thinking it. See, I have a belief that we were created first in thought and then we became, right? So the first thing we have to examine, Nevaeh, when you ask that question in the landscape of setting ourselves up for success is what is the effectiveness of how I think? You see, if we have a more proactive mindset and we explore that when we're looking at our careers and we're looking at the job market, it can be really like a lot of I find the youths that I'm working with currently, they're sort of overwhelmed because they have their desires and their skills, and then they have the things that they're told they're really good at, and then they have the things that their parents want them to be. I just met with a youth that's about 24 years old on Friday, and the question to me was, I really don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I have this business that's available for me to take from my parents, which I don't want. I'm really good at this. I want to create this lifestyle, but then I still don't know what I want to do. So I say for our youth, we want to help them in this change, in the evolution of what career looks like. As you can see on this little slide, I dropped the famous 2 letters, the greatest 2 letters of our time, which is AI. Careers are evolving. And so we have to learn how to create a proactive mindset and embrace the adaptability, embrace our creativity, and also do a lot of research on what that looks like. You see, with the entrepreneurial mindset at heart, it's okay to take initiative, right? It's okay. That gives us the okay to look at opportunities and do things that are outside of the norm and the conventional. So when we think that way, we're not just stuck on, I can be a teacher, I can be a bus driver, I can be this. It's, who am I? How do I want to express what I'm passionate about in the world? And truly, that now becomes your purpose, and your passion is fueling your purpose. Because we each have, you see, purpose is not about just myself and being able to make a good income and creating opportunities for my family. It's also connected to the why I'm here and how I want to impact the community and society. So, with that question, the answer for me is simply this: be proactive and explore who you are first, and then add what you're passionate about and tie that together and create your own pathway. You don't have to be. So, for example, I talked to a youth one time who had a master's degree in counseling psychology. And he was a therapist already, just needed to get his license. But he said he wanted nothing to do with that. He wanted to create art and music. So, my question to him is, how can you use the fact that you love psychology and music and art? And who would you like to help? The answer that he came up with, I would never know because I just had a quick one on one session for him. But here's something that I saw coming from that young man. I see him creating therapeutic art and music and developing first by going out bravely and maybe creating conversation on on a YouTube channel, which he said he wanted, and possibly developing a business. So he was not going to go down the traditional path. And so for many of our youth in today's society, they're not traditional by any means in their thinking. So why should we force them along tradition and not allow them the space to create their own path?
Correct, very true, ma'am. Because with the coming of new opportunities and with the coming of new lifestyles, there are a number of streams that the children have today which they can adapt on. But it is very difficult for the society and the traditional values to get adjusted to it because they don't look at it as a profession. So as we
Mm-hmm.
have been looking for new opportunities for the lifestyle and to adopt the kind of a businesses also with us, as we're planning a future to it, what strategies should we follow to this? As there are multiple ways, but exactly the children are not oriented. What is the way should that is going to be appropriately going to suit my lifestyle and the way I am going to perceive my career?
Exactly. So the first thing we want to do, Devea, is to overcome limiting beliefs. Everybody who follows my platform and who I always talk about overcoming limiting beliefs, which requires us to have a level of self-awareness. You see, with these strategies, the strategy of overcoming a limiting belief, and some may say, just for those who may not know, a limiting belief is that belief or those thoughts in your head that says, I am not good at this, I am not good at that, I could be this but I can't be that. Anything that you have not ever tried and exhausted the possibility of doing and becoming, that you say you can't or you say you won't, is actually a limiting belief. If you believe that my family have always been educators, and for me to step out and to become a firefighter would be completely unacceptable to my parents, it is a limiting belief. Never mind, you
Correct.
know you're going to get resistance from your parents. It's limiting you. Anything that you
Mhm.
think that's limiting you from your next step, and it creates utter confusion, you're inside a limiting belief. So your point is, how do I
Right.
cultivate a growth mindset, Dr. Lisa? You must challenge every negative thought, reframe them, and use failure as experience. You must also seek out new challenges and surround yourself with positive and supportive individuals. I'm going to walk through those steps again. Number one, challenge the negative thoughts in your head. Is it true? Is it valid? Do I have any proof to support that? Next, I'm also going to reframe the way I think and feel about things that I failed at. And then thirdly, I will surround myself with individuals who will support the positive movement and forward movement that I am intending to go forward with. For example, let me tell you this: Oprah Winfrey, one of my, I said she's my mentor. I haven't met her yet. And I want to emphasize, and we'll talk a little bit more about the importance of mentorship. But you have mentors near and far. But the thing I did was sit and I listened and researched several individuals, Oprah being one of my favorites because our paths have been very similar. She was someone who overcame so many limiting beliefs in her past. If you just watch her, because there's so much out there on her. So she's one that I wanted to bring up. Despite the challenges in her upbringing, she cultivated a growth mindset and she became very confident in herself. You see, confidence is not showing a beautiful outlook with strength and luster, but it's the real deep thoughts in her head. So she had the ability to create a successful career and also make a positive impact in the world. And my gosh, you can tell I am trailing very harshly behind her, not to be like Oprah, but to stay in the same mindset that she helped to create such a successful career, but not just for herself, but for the world.
True, very nicely said, ma'am. Quoted here. As I was watching up to the slide, there's something related to Control, Alt, and Delete. Now, would you like to stress a little bit more about this one?
Exactly. So inside of the overcoming limiting beliefs, I say control alt delete. Why? You want to take control of those negative thoughts. And then you want to alter them by reframing them, as I said. And the ones that don't serve you, just ultimately delete it and go to the trash bin and take empty that as well, because you're not going to return to them. And so mentorship is so important, as we said. And you now, once you're on that track, stay consistent with it, because a lot of us, we get so we give up too soon, right? Sometimes when we're right there to the win. So you have to stay consistent and never ever stop. That's a great question.
So, ma'am, as we I've been talking about controlling our emotions. There's a quite of resilience among the people, especially the teenagers, because they are not very adaptable to the situations. We talk about removing the negative thoughts. We talk about them getting adapted to it, but there is still a kind of a way that even if I'm keeping the approach very clear that I do not want to limit myself, still there are obstacles around us that actually limit us. So, how do we cope up with that?
So we have to embrace taking risk and being and standing in resilience. You see, this is why I like to bring the growth mindset. And when we talk about work, we talk about entrepreneurship. When we talk about career, we talk about entrepreneurship. A lot of people are surprised that in my employability and employability training, which includes getting a job, keeping the job, maintaining the job, and advancing in your career, that I encourage students who don't even want to work and become a business owner to have an entrepreneurial mindset, because the entrepreneur has is able to calculate risk taking and take the risk anyway. They know not to take the one with too high odds, but even with the odds stacked against them, they take that risk. You see, that mindset, it's about leaping into the unknown with the belief that I will figure it out along the way. You see, while I was coaching with one of my adult students on Friday, I said, you know what, we figured out that for the next 3 months, he has a pretty solid plan. He doesn't know where he wants to go, but I guarantee that once he was sitting there, even having a question, I'm not sure what I want to do and where I want to go. I said, because you have that question and you're willing to work through the answer, you're already standing in a growth mindset. So that standing there with, I will figure it out along the way, was exactly what every one of us should be doing. You see, failure is not the end. We cannot, when we're standing in embracing in risk taking and standing in resistance, we have to understand that failure is not the end, but it is a stepping stone to success. I cannot tell you how many times I've completely done it wrong. And I don't even say fail. I say done it wrong or went the complete opposite way of what I said I want. But once that happened, I started to look and say, why am I on this road and what can I learn from it? So that became a stepping stone to my success. Then in resilience, the resilience mindset and the resilience piece of your mindset is the ability to bounce back. That is like a secret sauce, because here's the thing, things are going to happen on this journey. But once you're embracing that growth mindset, you're going to value learning and you will learn from every situation and every person that comes along your way, no matter how big, small, great, or obscure that person's status may be. So when you build resilience, you have that bounce back factor. You're able to take a setback and adapt to it while it's happening in live time. And then you're able to explore practical strategies for your personal growth and your professional growth that will keep you accelerating on your path to success in your life and in your career.
Very nicely quoted here, ma'am. So, as you were talking about the keys, the three keys that children need to keep in mind is specifically the growing mindset, how they're supposed to embrace growth and make it a pattern, of course. So, not just keeping it for a day or few and then just getting back to the old mindset and the track that they've been following. Yes, you have to embrace growth, building resilience because ultimately there's a lot of criticism around us. And
Yes,
if you're not been continuing to follow the same thing as for a longer period of time, obviously there is not a long journey that we can actually travel. And the
exactly.
strategies, I need to strategize myself, I need to streamline myself, I have to work over those pointers and keep myself focused at how I need to strategize. So the three takeaways for today is hard work, how specifically your hard work will pay off. It's the three things that we need to keep on: the growth mindset that we need to have, resilience, and the personal growth plan that we need to develop for ourselves. Beautifully
Exactly.
quoted here, ma'am. I think this is something really important that the children should keep a note of, and they can keep it in mind while they've been actually tracking over. So as we're talking about embracing the growth, resilience, and talking about a personal plan that I need to have for myself, also
Yes,
there are a lot of obstacles that we have in a personal as well as professional lives.
yes,
Children entering into the business world, they're entering into the job sector. They have a wide dimension into the market that we have been having these days, because as soon as the child is graduating or is getting his degree, the next aspect is where he enters into the job profile. So the
yes,
very immediate movement, there are a lot of insecurities, there are a lot of questions, and there are a lot of doubts that the children
yes,
have. They're very
yes.
new to this world. So as they enter, the one thing that comes to the mind is that how do I specifically strategize myself? So what are the tips that the children can have for today, that they need to balance the personal as well as the professional lives, and how do they strategize that?
Absolutely great question. So, balancing your personal life. Here's the thing I always ask, and this came from my early beginnings is do you have a plan? You have to have a plan to grow. You must have a plan to grow strategically. And so as you develop those right, there's a few things that I have written down in my own journey that I would love to share with us. And one of the things I have learned to do, and it's been, I think, one of the major keys to my success, is effective communication. And so when you come up with the mindset, you want to be able to effectively communicate, and not just with others, is with yourself. Effective communication looks like really honest reflection within yourself. And a lot of times where I send having an honest reflection with myself is first by staying quiet with myself and honing in on my strengths and also looking for my growth opportunity. You see, here we have listed positive thinking and having the affirmation process, but note that positive thinking came first. And sometimes with life's hardships, my friends, positive thinking can be really challenging because everything around you seems to be falling down and falling apart. So I encourage you to be intentional in communicating with yourself and developing positive thoughts, and then using those thoughts as affirming yourself. For example, when you harness when harnessing the power of positive thinking and affirmation is not that it's not something that it's like, oh, I can do anything I want. That is so vague. It's really, I am going to create positive change in my day by number one, being patient with myself and others. See, that's very, very specific. It's not vague at all because I know the type of work that I do. So I am coming in from a place of creating a specific guideline and a mental default that I go to. So when I feel anxious, when I feel flustered, I'm going directly into a space where I've already predetermined how I'm going to respond to situations in my day. And there's a prominent example. The other thing I want to encourage us to is to create in your personal and professional growth plan is to create networks. They're so vital. We say that your net worth, which is your money and your resources, is equivalent to your net work, which means the people that you have around you. So as a young person, it's not just for us grown-ups. I don't just have really great people in my network that I can learn from. You ought to do the same, and they can be your age or not, but you can't just be hanging out with people who are doing the same thing as you. You want to have people in your circle that are already done what you want to accomplish in your life. Then you also want to be able to have strategic, clear, concise communication practices to build those professional relationships. For example, listen, when we think about people who have completely broke the mold and did outrageously great things in our community, like Mark Zuckerberg, and Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, right? We recognize her exceptional skill to communicate and network. She has built such a strong professional relationship. She has leveraged her network to advance her career and influence positive change all at the same time. So, balancing your self discipline and balancing your career, your self-care process is also another crucial part of maintaining your personal professional life balance. Setting realistic goals for yourself, establishing a great routine that maintain discipline without sacrificing who you truly are at your core. So remember, it's not I can't, it's how can I? And am I setting myself up with routines and habits that helps me become the person who achieves the goals and the dreams I have for myself?
Wow,
What are
really
you thinking,
beautiful.
Devika?
Beautiful. I am just trying to comprehend that what are the beautiful pointers you have quoted here. This is a very beautiful thing to mention. Net worth is equal to your network. Wow, what a takeaway for today. This is a beautiful line I would like to quote here. I think children today, personally and professionally, there is a balance that they need to maintain. And it is very important for them to maintain that effective communication and building up the kind of people around them. If I do not have
Yes,
the circle around me, the people those who are going to help me grow, I will never be able to grow. It's always a teamwork. So
exactly.
all that networking that I have, all the network, the people around me is helping me grow, learn, and that is how we collaborate. That is how you get to know each other, and that is how you specifically live in the society. These are the
Exactly.
people that is going to be helping you, and the net
And when
worth is
you,
going to be deciding you. Of course, that's the beautiful thing that actually we should be embracing
exactly.
here.
Yes. Exactly. So that adaptability and just staying relevant in your field. And again, like I tell my students, if you're going to create that pathway to success, what you learn in college or in trade school or wherever you go cannot be enough. You will not achieve massive success if you are not staying innovative. And innovation is not always, when we think of innovation, we think of someone who created like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or the next AI. But no, innovation is really staying up on how you can maneuver yourself in your chosen career path and how you can get to the very top. And the top doesn't always mean a title, right? It means that you are so well informed and equipped that you are actually designing your own pathway and sometimes making others think that they did it. And so
True.
individuals, I talk to my students, my adult students in employability, that they ought to keep the ball in their court. And the only way is being adaptable. Because, for example, right now, there's so much pivot happening with AI that if we are not embracing it, right now it's my job. I have to do extra work, no matter how much I've studied, what I think I know. If I don't embrace and study and learn AI and figure out how I can make it work for me, I will be left behind in my field. So that is the same that students ought to do. If you think you want to be a carpenter, then you should be researching carpentry and also figuring out how you can distinctly position yourself in a place of not just prominence, but a place of innovation so that you can make number one, really good money, and number two, really great impact.
And it is very important that the effective communication becomes a key for you to develop your network, which is very rightly quoted here, because the innovation and the growth mindset comes with the people around you.
That's
So
right.
as we have been correlating here with the life of the growth in terms of a personal and professional life. So ma'am, why the children basically adapt these kind of a strategies for a longer run, and like undergoing this kind of a mind shift for achieving the success. Can you highlight a bit more about in terms of your self care or self discipline, or effective communication, building a network? Because all that they know about building a network is being joining up with friends or known people around them, and that is not the kind of a network we're talking here, because it's way different from the kind of an approach that they actually look forward to, because they don't have a vision for that. So can you highlight little bit about that?
Exactly. And so I love that you asked that question because we are definitely in a space where so many of us are socializing and connecting, but not truly connecting. And so one of the things I talk about is intentionally connecting. And so when I mentioned the term keeping the ball in your court, it's really seizing the opportunity for everything that's around you and several, more than anything, reaching outside your comfort zone to network with individuals. So you have for in order for you to create a career that brings you the most impact and income, you want to stretch outside your network. So it's easy to get on Facebook and click and connect with people in your neighborhood, in your city, and your town. But it's another situation to inbox someone. For example, I am always first massively impressed by the young people from across the globe who dare to inbox me and say, ma'am, I am very impressed with you. I want to learn from you. And then I'm massively driven. Just a couple weeks ago, I received an email from a young man. I think he's in the Bahamas, who said, can I have you be a part of my board? And he's about 21 years old and he started a nonprofit and he wants me on his board because he wants me to help him strategize how to grow and impact wisely. And for me, that takes a lot of courage. And that's the type of mindset, an effective way of mastering communication skills. Because you know what I get also? I get a bio from these young people who are saying, one, two, three. And I will tell you, I get more of those from around the world than I ever get in the USA. And the question I ask myself about that is it that our students in the USA have not really thought about their career pathway and what they want to do, or they don't feel the need to stretch outside their network to find someone to help them? So you must master the courage to build up being with in networks that you're not necessarily comfortable in order to create and develop and stick on your career pathway.
So, ma'am, as you've been highlighting here about developing a career pathway, can you share some examples? Because the children today correlate themselves better with an examples. As you were sharing few of them also right now, it is very important for them to orient themselves and view themselves in the positions as well. Because there are opportunities, there are ways, and there are growth mindset as well. But they are not been still able to achieve because they don't associate with these things. So, can you share some examples where the children can actually associate themselves?
So you want to be in situations like you want to be in clubs that emphasize any form of leadership. That's one of the places that even virtually, we've been working, a group of young individuals and I have been working for over a year on preparing ourselves, not just me, because there's only so much I can do, right? But there are so many leadership clubs because you will develop the discipline and also the gift of networking by being in a club. Now, it might be a club in your high school or in your community. And here's the thing I have to say to our young people: if there is no such club in your community, then you should take on the responsibility of possibly creating one and bring in individuals that will pour in. There are many adults and successful businessmen and women, leaders and entrepreneurs that would willingly volunteer their time with honor if you ask them, ma'am, sir, can you please come and address 10 of us on Zoom? Or if it's in your community and they're able to do it in person, even better. And you just do a Q&A with them to get those answers. The other thing you want to do is go ahead and set yourself up in a spot where you are able to challenge your abilities. So you take on leadership roles. Volunteering. A lot of youths don't understand the importance because we haven't taught it, that if they're not sure what they want to do, one of the best ways to do that is to volunteer and become the understudy or the unofficial understudy of someone who is doing what you want. Is to get your, just try it out. For example, I've met even adults and I said, you want to be a nurse? How do you know? Well, I always liked it. That's not a good enough reason to go and complete an entire 4 year degree. And then you get the first day on your job, the first week of your job, and you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Right? So you want to be able to go on a ride for some of the career paths you're thinking. And the younger you start doing that, the better. There's career day at school and students dress up and go up. I love the concept, but I would like to see our youth actually being taking on the chance and given the opportunity for internship. And my thing, if it's not being done in your community, you can be the young person that starts it. And if you're an adult here listening to me, I hope that triggers you to actually think, I'm running a pharmacology company. I'm running like my career, my coaching. I actually have youths who want to career coach or want to coach in mindset or whatever their choice is. I have them. I reinvest in number one, them getting formal training and also shadowing me on events and things that I do so they can see if they like it. And trust me, some of them who thought they like it, they don't like it as much, or they're still exploring how they would express it. So those are two of the major ways that I think youths can start, because there's so much you can learn when you're doing that. You'll learn the discipline that comes with it. You'll learn the techniques, and you're like, you know what? I really don't like this. Let me try something else. So that's what I would give to that debate. There's so many more, of course, but we're going with some of the top ones that I usually teach and coach and train on.
I think which is important also to know, ma'am, because the children most relatedly associate with this, and which is very beautifully quoted here, that they need to be joining up to the clubs. Because what we believe and we feel is that what am I good at? I need to be oriented and be in my nutshell. But that is not
Yeah,
true. We need to have those aspects where we join ourselves with the other clubs, learn from other people, and that is again same thing. Networking is the key for your success and growth. So I think that that's the one thing that children need to be knowing is that there is no success individually. It's always a teamwork. It is always a growth that we have it together. And what we learn from others is something that is very important for us in our aspects of life, because that is the best example. That is the best way in which we can learn. Not oriented to us by any respective teacher, but also oriented to us from our lives itself. So that is an
exactly.
important takeaway in terms of that. So as we're
What I'd
talking about
like
some of
to
the,
add, sorry,
yes,
what
ma'am,
I'd like to
not a
add
problem.
is while you're sitting in the space where you're allowing yourself to learn, don't become a copycat of your mentor. Don't become a
True.
copycat of a person you idolize. You want to look at their path and find within what they're doing, what is their secret to success. Some of my one of my coach mentor, who's also a very good friend of mine, you've had him on, Dr. Kareem Ellis, says some things are thought and some things are caught. And I'll say this: what you're being taught is very, very important. But the things that you catch while you're sitting and learning and study of a mentor or a leader that you admire is so much more important, because those are the things that you will take and make a strategy for yourself as you charter your own pathway. So it's so important for our students. We're not encouraging you today. Don't get it. Don't say that Devea and Dr. Alisa is telling you to go into clubs and learn and copy from people. We're telling you to go into those clubs and be innovative in how you take on your life by learning what they teach. Also, if there isn't a club for what you want to do and how you would like to see clubs being run for young people, you start it.
Very nice quoted. As you mentioned about Dr. Kareem, I would like to extend him gratitude as well. The previous session with the Dr. Kareem has been so insightful and added up so much to the knowledge. Children I really received more questions after the session as well. They were really looking forward to more such insights from him. So as we're looking forward to this as well, ma'am, the mindset, I think it's the most important thing. Self communication is the most important thing. And
Yeah,
above all, we need to be actually we're quite oriented through the whole process, because success is not a one day thing. It's a journey, it's a process that we go through. And the
exactly.
people that join this journey together and add up to the value to us is what we earn. And that is how
Exactly.
we get a mentor, we get friends, we get the critics along with us, and which is equally very important for us to grow.
Exactly.
And as we proceed further, the idea of mindset and innovation, would you like to give some more suggestions on the business categories, or the personal or professional growth? Anything more you'd like to add on, ma'am?
So I just want to remind you that the first step that, as we ran through it, the first step is number one, creating a level of clarity and comfortability with yourself first. A lot of times we say that, when we talk about work-life balance, we believe that, oh my goodness, I have to, people say, oh, don't leave that at home. We never leave our personal lives at home. It goes with us. We are one person. We're not split in two where we go. I started watching this weird series on Apple TV just recently. It's an Apple original. I think it's called Severance, right? Where they're actually, they've done some operations, some surgery where you are one person when you get on the elevator at work and you completely forget who you are at home. And when you get on the elevator to go back home, you forget who you are at work. I'm very intrigued with where this is going, but that doesn't happen in real life, right? So
True.
you're bringing who you are as a person to work and to your career and to your businesses. You see, I want everyone to understand when I say career, I'm speaking whether it's entrepreneurship or you're actually working for someone. It is still your career. And so your life and who you are in your personal life is well reflected on your professional life. So, creating work life balance is number one, to create harmony with yourself, being in self awareness, taking self responsibility for who you are, what you become, and how you act and how you respond. And then, thirdly, being clear in a purpose driven mindset that says, you know what, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm passionate about. And now you get to create that path for yourself. When we talk about networking, that's where you're going to co create, because no man or woman is an island. We use the word self made, it's not true. Self made is an illusion. No one is self made. And the only people talk about being self made are the people who are very, very successful. No one who is really struggling ever talks about being self made, but that person is self made as well. Because what I said, how you think about yourself is what you begin to speak about yourself. It's what you go about doing. And then that's what you get the results from. So you have to bring the right individuals, because individuals are in your life anyway. And you get to choose who those people are based on where your goals and your vision is. And yes, you're going to lose some people along the way, but it's important. Then once you do that, now you have a clear strategy that you allow to adapt to, because sometimes as humans we don't fail, but things don't go as planned, or how we think it would be, it doesn't go. Just remember, you're always doing your best based on the knowledge you have currently. So you're going to have to be able to pivot and be adaptable as quickly as possible. And that is that proactive, innovative mindset of what I call, that literally comes from, we see entrepreneurs doing it all the time. So after that is keeping resources around you, the resource people, the resource things. Remember, source. Where are you getting your information and your motivation and your inspiration, your learning, and all the things from? What are the resources you're using that's available to you? And then thirdly, don't be so hard on yourself. Just a couple of days ago, I put online, consistency is key. Consistency is key. Some days it's more about the progress that you're making versus the perfection of you actually getting where you want to be at this time. Oh, I'm 22 now, I should be this way. Oh, no, 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 no. Your timing is not always in conjunction with your consistency. So don't you ever quit on yourself.
Very nice and very beautifully mentioned here, ma'am. Consistency is the key, as we always say, and that needs to be maintained for a long-term success, for a long-term growth. And yes, nobody's made in a day. It's a journey that we need to travel along. And
Yes.
of course, if we have been together, then the journey becomes quite easier. Otherwise, the success is quite an alone thing, and you will not have people around you to celebrate if you have been actually traveling alone on this journey.
Exactly.
So, as we are very near to the session, ma'am, I would do not want to be concluding the session for now. We have some of the questions from the audience, so I would like if you can take up those questions. The children are quite curious with this doubt. So this is
Sure.
the session is open for question and answers. Those who are willing to put up the questions can share this question in the chat box. So we, ma'am, is ready to answer those. I have a few questions here right now. So as and when, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, ma'am, the first question comes up here is like, how can the youth effectively balance self-discipline and self-care to maintain the well-being while pursuing their careers? I think it's a very important question for the children these days.
Yes, balancing self-discipline and self-care is very crucial to maintaining your well-being. Like I said, you don't never split. You're the same person. It's one body, one mind, one spirit that goes everywhere you go. So you can prioritize self-care by allocating time for rest. Time for rest. And listen, we say youth, but all of us do. Time for rest. There are times I know I have to be out. Exercise. Exercise is not only about getting in the right shape that you want. It's so vital to your entire well being. Relaxation, knowing when it's time to relax and really kick it with your friends. But don't have those things all run on. You have to be intentional. Yeah, I'm suggesting actually having a schedule. In addition, setting realistic goals. If you're taking notes, it's setting realistic goals and establishing routines. As I said, who do I have to become in order to be the person that attains the level of success that I'm asking myself? So you must create a routine and help that will actually support a discipline around who you are becoming, and understanding that that routine should not sacrifice your self-care. Here's the thing. Ariana Huffington, the co-founder of the Huffington Post, she said the importance of well-being, and she's emphasized the importance of well-being, and she's also advocated for work-life balance a lot. And she is saying that we should allow individuals to prioritize their health and their personal fulfillment, even for the professional world. I am one that's one of the biggest proponent of employers, and any company or corporation, whether large or small, understand that their employees are humans first. And when they allow for them to deliberately and intentionally prioritize their health and their personal fulfillment, that they will have the best employees ever. So that is my little bit of innovation that I want to bring to the world. And I've been working on my own theory about it. There's an article that I posted that I was able to publish in the Global Investment Times this weekend that talks a little bit about what that looks like. But balancing your personal health and fulfillment is optimum. Number one, having proper rest, exercise, understanding relaxation, and setting goals and establishing routines that maintain discipline for who you say that you want to be. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. It's correctly written and highlighted here. So, as we are talking about consistency, we have the dramas were not built in a day, and consistency is effort. So, we are receiving appreciations on the context that you mentioned here. So, as
Absolutely.
we are talking about consistency and we're talking about self discipline, which is very important for you to attain your goal, and self care, of course. If your health
Yes.
doesn't permit you, I think you will not be able to concentrate. Recently, ma'am has been really having a difficult time to attend the session, because of which
Yes.
we had to reschedule also. But I
Yes.
must say, ma'am has been really try to keep up well. Even of a quite few days, she was not well enough to take up those sessions also. Still, she has managed to pull off, and of course, that's a determination, and that's
Yes.
what keep us focused. So I really
Exactly.
appreciate you for that, ma'am, for maintaining that consistency. And I think that's the best example that I can share right now, because I was associated
Oh,
with you
thank you. It
for the past
is
few
because
days. Yeah,
I that's what I talk about. Things happen. And so I had an unfortunate situation where there was a fire in my home, and that
correct,
pushed everything back. And so it was important for me to sit and pivot and say what was most important right now. It was my health, number one, and my well-being. And prioritizing that, I had to say, let's schedule this out. I had to say
correct,
that to you and a few people. Take a pause. I actually pause my calendar so no one gets on there and book it, because
Mhm.
my health and my well-being is first. Because then, if I'm not in well enough shape, I will not show up and do my best for the
True,
people that I serve.
correct.
So that is so important. I'm so glad you highlighted that. But I'm definitely doing my best to live what I teach.
I Actually, I was just trying to relate to that only because that was the first thing that was coming to my mind, because we were really trying for the session for a very long time, and things were
Yeah.
pouring in. But it was really really appreciative on your part, ma'am, to take that effort and do that extra thing and still manage to come up back, bounce back again, of course, to mention here.
That's what we do. That's the lesson
Yeah.
today. Bounce
Yeah,
back.
that's true. So we have another remark from one of the students here. So, ma'am, as everyone says, go with the flow. I absolutely agree with it. But shouldn't we have it? That's not a very clear idea. It's a vague idea about what we want to do it in our future. So, can you suggest us like what is the strategizing way that we can actually think on? Yeah.
So I absolutely don't agree with go with the flow. I believe that if you are going to go with the flow, that means where the wind blows, that's where you go. So if the VA comes up and say, I think you'll be a good technician in the lab, the computer lab, you're going to go with that flow. If someone comes in and says, oh my goodness, you're so good at being a technician in the lab, you're probably going to be better being a computer engineer now. So you'll keep floating around. So because if you don't have a vision for your own life, you will become a servant to other people's vision for their life, right? So here's the thing. This is why I'm encouraging that the mindset is more towards an entrepreneur mindset for if you're going to be successful in your life and your career, because then entrepreneurs take ownership of their business, and your business, the first business you're going to have as an entrepreneur is the you. So my dear friend Anshika, Mr. Sharma, the question you're asking is no, don't go with the flow. You have to have a clear plan for yourself. And again, I said, yeah, things might change. You're going to have to adapt and tweak, but the main goal and idea for who you are and what you become is up to you. So that vagueness, no, when you were a child, you knew what you wanted to be when you grew up. Do you really want to do that later? Not necessarily. Ask a 2 year old or a 3 year old, 4 year old, what do you want to be a girl? I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a movie star. They always know. There's no negotiation. And I tell you, I had a nephew who I watched grow, and he wanted to be in Hollywood creating movies. And at 5 and 6, this young man knows things about production that I have no clue about. And even today, he's almost 10 in a few days. He is still very much focused on becoming that. Now, chances are he might change, but what he did was something that I watched and I thought about it. What if, as an adult, we were so keen on our career? Every chance he gets, he's creating, writing, drawing, and writing scripts. And he's learned how to use the phone and the computer to create characters. And he's actually made movies. He's produced sound and beat. And he studies lighting and production on YouTube. And he's so clear. This is how clear I want to encourage you, Mr. Sharma, to be. And even when you're that clear, yes, leave room for things to happen or pivots to be required, but don't you leave it vague. It's not advised at all. Like, yes, it's up here. They're catching my words. Passion fuels purpose. So your purpose is something you want to figure out. And remember, your purpose is only the big why. But what are you passionate about? That's what you're going to use to add fuel to that. And that might change. You might be 10 years, 4 years, 3 years of being functioning with a certain job title. But the job title is not you, and it's not necessarily your purpose. It's just what the world gives you as a label because they have to have one. But really and truly, you are showing up as you everywhere you go. So that's what you have to be clear on first is who you are, what your purpose is, and make that roadmap. Don't leave it to chance. Thanks for that question. I hope that helps.
Really nicely quoted here, Anshika. I hope you have got your answer. What ma'am was trying to mention here, that the future is what we make of, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to set your goals very clear right now, I think the stepping stones to your future is the way that you are very clear on this one. So,
Yes.
ma'am, as we proceed further, so Anshika has shared her remarks. Thank you so much, ma'am. She has shared the remarks as well. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
as we further, another question that comes up is that how can the youth embrace own innovation and adaptability? So, there's a lot of competitive world around us, and the children are really facing a difficult time to compete, especially in the. I think that the first challenge itself is getting into the colleges, the degrees
Yes.
and the percentage that they're supposed to achieving. That's the first task that the children actually really have to struggle for. So what is
Yeah.
the different thing a child needs to do that he can seize over to the opportunities? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You see, this question, and you brought up a clear point about going to college, and I absolutely advocate for going to college. But I have the question for you: is college what you want to do? You see, we come from, I say we collectively, because I came from a culture where college education is not an option. You have to get one. But I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many adults I meet today who are doing great work, but it has nothing to do with what they study, and how many adults have studied and because they want to stick to it, they're miserable. So I encourage both parents and students and youth that are listening to us, as you embrace innovation and you're adapting, that mindset is one that's open to change and willing to take risk. Why do I say that? And why do I put these two together? Here's the thing, some parents, if your child does not want to become an attorney, don't force them into a life of misery becoming an attorney. There's like top three things you have to become. When I was reading, an attorney, a doctor, or possibly a teacher. There's nothing wrong with those. I have technically functioned on as an educator, and I still am, and I still see myself as primarily an educator. Everything about what I'm doing right now is still education based. However, we really want our children and our youth to decide where they want to go and be able to be so innovative and adaptable as adults to support that. Because I'm going to ask you this, with the functionality of AI and what AI is doing, the little that we are aware of, because let me tell you, behind the scenes AI is doing way more, and it always has. We're just not familiar with it. How much is your college degree really worth except what you paid for it? And I pause on purpose. You see, we're looking at all this AI technology, and you can only envision the changes that will be made. I often joke around with my students when I'm doing instructions at the college, at the academy campus. I say, they're not going to need me to come up here and blah, blah. They can actually put an AI on this screen, and she will say all the wonderful things that I'm saying. That means I would not have a 40-hour work week. I might be doing two, just recording and programming AI, and then the AI does all the work. And you learn from the AI. But however, we're looking at where is the career path what careers are going to be in demand in the future, and that is adaptability and innovation. You see, youth can stay competitive by staying informed in the industry strength in the industry strength trends. Because if you're wanting to become, like for me, I'm a speaker, coach, trainer. Behind it, I say I'm an entrepreneur that does all of those things. I have to understand that at some point, instead of being here live with you all, I might have to be inside the goggles, the Oculus. And that's something I have to prepare myself for, both in the visual and audio world. And I have to become flexible that being on stages might be a lot less than it is right now in a year from now. So that's the adaptability and understanding what innovation, understanding, exploring technology and trends, and seeking out innovation driven projects for yourself is also important. And creating those collaborative environments where you can explore that. Let's mention, everyone know who Mark Zuckerberg is. He's the co-founder and CEO of Facebook, right? He exemplifies embracing innovation and adaptability because he's continuously seeking new opportunities to adapt Facebook's strategy to meet the needs of us, the users, and the advancement of technology. So he's not staying stuck, even though he was the man who invented Facebook. And after that came the birth of many other social platforms. He is staying innovative. Every time I hit Facebook, there's an update. I'm like, where are my stuff? Right? So you want to be that young adult or that person, that parent that embraces innovation and adaptability, and that student and that young person that also does the same. Stay competitive by being informed and knowing what's to come and being ready for it as much as you can. Thank you so much, Kartabea. I appreciate
So
that.
a lot of appreciations are pouring in, ma'am. We have another question, as you were mentioning. Ma'am, as you said, we should focus on building the social networks, but in today's context, how do we achieve it? So it's easier to become a Facebook friend, but it is very difficult to build up a social network, I suppose. So, ma'am, something of yours that you can highlight on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is why I say put intentionality behind your connections. as someone who creates impact and influence, obviously I have connections, the numbers, everyone would look and say, oh, you have 18,000 this here, you have 10,000 here, you have this one. Okay, that's wonderful. But I'm going to tell you, they are a part of my network that gets a viewing privilege or a previewing privilege. But my true network, well, there's not a lot of interaction. As a matter of fact, I think I'm lousy at interacting on social media. I try my best from time to time, but I prefer to be in a room with individuals because I'm old school, or in a Zoom room or something, really strategizing and creating. So, what have I done? And what a lot of us who are leading the trail has done, we are intentionally connecting with individuals and moving those connections on Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever to a more conversational behind the scenes via maybe WhatsApp or getting on a Zoom call. So I would say it's the intentionality. Connect to people with intentionality. For example, if I'm in large social groups, but there's one or two people, I might see Devea, like Devea, she and I met. She had Dr. Ellis on her program, and she realized that he and I were connected. So she connected with me, and she realized my work was along the line how she wants to curate her show. And so we developed a relationship that eventually I became a part of her program. That is intentionality behind her connecting and clicking the request and me accepting it. Because before I accepted, I also screened her to see what she's done. Is she someone that I can learn from? Is she someone that I can collaborate to create the impact? Is she someone that is embracing the type of work that I do in the world? And so all these questions will determine you being intentional, my dear friend, at creating a network that helps you and grow and impact. And based on where you are in your life, you can very well. I want to caution that you do outgrow the network that you at. So don't get too comfortable. Always keep aiming for people who are higher. Sometimes just watching them on your news feed every day could be the thing that changes your life. And I yield for that. I hope that helps.
Very nicely quoted here, ma'am. So I would really highlight on this one that you should be networking with the people who add more value to you, and that is
Absolutely.
how we actually connected, because the intention was the same, and the the kind of intention that we've been following here as well, to brace up and bring up more ideas to the children, and that is where possibly we have been all been able to connect. So the Garvit has been sending up the love the session, and he has been sending you good wishes. So,
Thank
Garvit,
you.
I hope it answers your question that you've been actually trying to solve here. Another thing that we have, I think, one more question that we can take, and it's a very important question to brace upon, and the children would be actually really looking forward to that. What are the resources or the programs that they should be actually looking forward? Because the children these days are being very much AI oriented, so it's very easy for me to be actually finding up through an AI who's going to solve my problem, but in general it's the human who are actually supposed to solve each other's problem, not the
Exactly.
AI. So what are the
Exactly.
programs that you can actually recommend, and the resources that you can recommend, ma'am?
Awesome. Absolutely. But first off, I'm gonna say there's no limit, because I'm telling you, how you think is what you will see. If you think you're limited by resources, then you are. If you think there's resources, but how can I find them? You're right too. So one of the books that I absolutely will recommend, because mine is not published yet, is one by Miss Carol Dweck that says, she talks about the psychology of success. And so that book is one of my favorite, The Psychology of Success. And it talks a lot about the growth mindset. And one of the other things I'm going to tell you, of course, I'm going to tell you, is connect with me. It's send me an email or with a question that's directly about where you want to go. And that was one of the things why I named my own organization Fulfillment Empowerment Network. And we're Fulfillment Empowerment Network USA right now, and we're going to be Fulfillment Empowerment Network in few on every continent by the end of next year. And that's strategic because we want to really create a network of professionals that really serve in this sphere. So what I've done is I've been blessed to have so many people in my network that you can just probably even look at my social media and see all the people I'm connected with. Also, in upcoming months, you will hear about a global youth program that we're working on. A team of us are working on. There's so much happening. but those are models that I can bet on. I can't refer you to specific agencies, but I would tell you research. Do keyword search on what it is you're looking for. Find the individuals and see the organizations that they connect to. And don't hesitate to use me as a resource. I can definitely bet on what I will give you. Now, I may not be able to take a phone call right away or get on a chat conversation back with you, but I can definitely, you fill up my inbox, my email box, and me or somebody from my team will definitely point you in direction for those organizations, even I would say around the globe, that you can possibly connect with. And again, my platform is advancing to where it's not only about the women, it's also about the youth, it's about everyone. And it's not all about me doing it, but the principles I teach will be taught and enhanced around the globe. So those are the two tips I can give you. You can go for that book first, and once you read that book, follow the blueprints, and then watch out for mine that comes out as well. So that's what I'm going to give us today on that to enhance your journey.
Very well said, ma'am. So, children, it's an open forum, ma'am. You can connect to her on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can even connect to her on Instagram. The email ID has also been shared on your respective screens. Anybody which wish to take a feedback, ask more questions, or take
Yes.
some ideas from ma'am, it's an open the session for you. Any more questions, or you are free to post it on your chat box, so ma'am will be able to answer. If
Yes. I will
we
take
have
some
some more,
time to review on YouTube to see
yeah.
who's asking and try to respond there as well.
Right, right. And we can even forward those questions so you can personally text us as well. In case of any other questions that you need ma'am to answer, or possibly you can connect with ma'am on any of the social media handles, and
Yes.
she would be very happily be able to help you further in your endeavors and whatever future aspects that you've been looking for and fishing for.
Absolutely. I have a free gift for us that's called 21 Days to a Positive Mindset. You can
Oh,
also inbox me on Instagram, click the follow button, inbox me, and ask for 21 days, and we'll send that over for you as a free gift because that will definitely get you started. And then I have another one that's called the strategies to developing a successful. There's 13 strategies to developing a successful job search. We'll start you from mindset. So you want to get those two. So inbox me 21 days and we'll send
wow.
one, two over to you.
I think that's the best takeaway for the children, ma'am. They would be really looking forward. So, children, just don't leave this opportunity. Just go to the Instagram follow button, and just one click away, you have been away from a very beautiful resource, from a very enlightened person. And I must say that ma'am has so many accolades in her bucket that it was so. I could not actually list all of them as well. So it's a very prestigious thing for us that ma'am could actually has been able to give you so much. So children, I think that's really an easy way to follow and get something which has taken years of experience. So just
It
go
is.
on an Instagram handle, please follow the ma'am's account, and just go and grab your the copy right now, so that actually it is going to help you in your future to know your success, set your growth mindset, and will be able to embark on a journey that is actually going to give you more fulfillment in your successful achievements.
Yes, I'm reading the wonderful comments here on the side. I'm having fun. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. I just want to remind us that everything begins with how you think about yourself, and
True.
you should continue to create a lifestyle that's filled with passion and purpose. So
Right.
today
So
I
ma'am,
want to
yeah.
remind us, yes, I want to remind us to seize the opportunities that are in front of you with zeal and zester. It's always important. Seize the opportunity to embark on your mindset transformation journey, not tomorrow, but today, now, in this very moment. Embrace personal growth, cultivate a success mindset, and unleash every bit of the potential that is within you because it is within you. You can achieve anything you think about or dream about. The power to create an extraordinary future is absolutely in the palm of your hands. So just do it and do it passionately and purpose. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you. And I will see you soon on the other side of social media or an email.
It was really beautiful, ma'am. I think the seize the moment, seize the opportunity is the best takeaway for the children, because time is not going to come back again. So
Yes.
it's the time right now that they can draw upon it. So ma'am, we are really grateful for you to be joining this session, ma'am. The children have been actually have a lot of things to take away, and I think they have been motivated to be actually planning the future, because if they're not going to be planning it, they're not going to be working towards it. I think the things will remain unclear and vague for them for a very long time. So
Absolutely.
as we conclude the session, as we just before we conclude the session, dear attendees, as we draw curtains on this insightful event, I stand before you with an heart brimming with gratitude and inspiration. I think today's journey through unleashing the power within, the mindset shift that youth needs actually to have the success in the life, business, and careers, have been a remarkable testament of the possibilities that lie within each one of us. So, to everyone, on behalf of Educational Connect with DM, our gratitude extends to Dr. Elisa for her profound insights and active participation that she has infused in this gathering today. The energy and the purpose that is being added up. Let's cherish the mindset shift we have uncovered and apply them to our personal and professional journeys. So, until next time, continue to embrace growth and success. A very warm thank you to ma'am, and thank you to everyone for joining up the session today. Greetings to you, ma'am. We're really looking forward that you can add up more value to the children and more thoughts to it for the coming sessions ahead on Educational Connect with DM as well.
Thank you so much, and Deve, you're doing an amazingly outstanding, impactful job. So no doubt you're definitely on all the paths that we described today. You are a role model. I am proud of you, and we're very grateful to
Thank you,
have
ma'am.
you in the world. And I can't wait to see you live in India again. I was there last year.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to
Please,
visiting
please,
again.
ma'am. Welcoming you for that, for sure. And really grateful to you for this session and for taking that effort, even after all the possibilities that it was not been able to work out. You have really actually have done the every bit of it to actually make it happen. So I'm really grateful for you. And Ma'am Educational Connect is actually grateful for you for this session.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Thank you all the team behind the scenes as well for your
Thank you
patience
so much.
and your support.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we shall connect with you people for another session on Educational Connect with TMs. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you everyone for connecting today.